There is a moment, often so small that it almost goes unnoticed, when a cat begins to trust you. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with excitement or certainty. In fact, it can feel so ordinary that you only realize it later, when something has already changed. Perhaps the cat stays in the room instead of leaving. Perhaps they turn their back to you for the first time. Perhaps they fall asleep while you're still there. Trust, for a cat, is not a leap. It is a gradual softening. And once you learn to recognize it, you begin to see that trust has been forming long before you ever named it. Trust is not immediate. Cats do not arrive in our lives ready to trust. Even the most affectionate cat carries instincts shaped by caution. Their ancestors survived by paying close attention to their environment, by noticing what others missed, and by leaving situations that felt uncertain. That instinct is still alive in the way cats move through the world today. When a cat watches you closely, keeps distance, or startles easily, it is not rejection. It is assessment. The cat is learning the rhythm of your presence. How you move, how you sound, how unpredictable you might be. This observation period has no fixed timeline. For some cats it lasts days. For others, months or longer. Trust does not begin when a cat seeks affection. It begins when a cat decides not to leave. That decision, to remain in the same space, to tolerate proximity, to relax just enough, is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Before touch, before affection, before companionship, there is simply coexistence without fear. And that alone is meaningful. The language of staying. One of the earliest signs of trust is a cat choosing to stay near you without demanding anything in return. They may not approach. They may not look at you directly. They may pretend you are not there at all. But they remain. This staying is not passive. It is deliberate. A cat who stays is saying, "Nothing bad is happening right now." They are allowing themselves to exist in the same space as you without being on constant alert. You might notice this when a cat lies down across the room instead of perching near an exit, or when they sit with their back to you, exposing the most vulnerable part of their body without needing to monitor you. These are quiet choices, but they are profound ones. Trust, at this stage, does not seek interaction. It seeks safety, and safety is the first form of connection. The moment their body changes. At some point, you may notice a shift, not in what the cat does, but in how they hold themselves. Their body becomes looser, movements slow, tension fades from their shoulders and tail. They stretch instead of remaining coiled. This is not accidental. A relaxed body is a risk. A cat cannot defend themselves effectively when fully relaxed. To release tension is to assume that no threat is imminent. When a cat allows their body to soften around you, they are making a quiet calculation. One that says your presence has become predictable enough to feel safe. You might see this when a cat begins grooming themselves near you. Grooming is not just cleanliness. It is a vulnerable act that requires focus and time. A cat who grooms in your presence is no longer prioritizing vigilance. In these moments, trust has moved from observation into embodiment. The cat is no longer just watching you. They are allowing themselves to feel at ease around you. Eye contact and the slow blink. Human cultures often associate eye contact with confidence and connection. For cats, prolonged staring can mean the opposite. It can signal threat or dominance. That is why one of the most intimate gestures a cat can offer is not a stare, but a slow blink. When a cat slowly closes their eyes and opens them again while looking at you, they are momentarily removing their visual awareness. For that brief second, they are choosing vulnerability. This gesture is often subtle and easy to miss, but it carries weight. It is a silent acknowledgement that the cat feels safe enough to disengage, even briefly. Sometimes this happens when you are not even paying attention. You may look up and catch the end of a blink. Other times, it feels intentional, as though the cat is testing whether you understand this quiet exchange. Either way, the slow blink marks a turning point. Trust has begun to include communication. Sleep as an offering. Few things require more trust than sleep. When a cat sleeps, they surrender control. Their senses dull. Their reactions slow. They cannot flee quickly if danger appears. That is why the moment a cat chooses to sleep near you, truly sleep, not just rest, matters deeply. At first, this might happen at a distance. A cat dozing on the same couch, but not touching. Later, it may become closer. The same chair, the same bed, eventually the same pillow or lap. Each reduction in distance is a negotiation. Each is a question asked and answered quietly. When a cat sleeps near you, they are saying that your presence no longer requires monitoring. You have become part of the background of safety, not something to watch, but something to rely on. Trust here is no longer cautious. It is embodied rest. Touch without demand. One of the most misunderstood aspects of feline trust is touch. Many assume that trust means a cat tolerates being touched anywhere, at any time. But true trust often looks like the opposite. A cat choosing when and how to make contact. The first intentional touch may be brief. A brush against your leg, paw resting near your hand. A head bump that lasts only a second before the cat retreats. These touches are not requests. They are acknowledgments. They say, "I am aware of you. I am choosing contact." As trust grows, touch becomes more relaxed and sustained. A cat may lean into your hand rather than pulling away. They may sit beside you instead of near you. Eventually, they may place their full weight against you, confident that you will not move abruptly or break the moment. Trust in touch is not about access. It is about consent. Vulnerability revealed. At some point, you may witness behaviors that once felt impossible. A cat rolling onto their back, exposing their belly, stretching fully in your presence. These moments are often misinterpreted as invitations for interaction, but they are something else entirely. They are displays of confidence. A cat exposing their most vulnerable areas is not necessarily asking to be touched. They are showing that they feel secure enough to exist openly. That security is not performative. It is deeply internal. This is where trust moves beyond tolerance into comfort. The cat is no longer managing their environment. They are inhabiting it, and you are part of that environment now. Following without fear. Another quiet sign of trust appears when a cat begins to follow you. Not closely, not urgently, but with gentle curiosity. They may move from room to room after you, sit nearby while you work, or position themselves where they can observe without intervening. This is not dependence. It is interest. A cat who follows you is choosing shared space. They are no longer guarding their territory from you. They are including you within it. Trust at this stage is relational. The cat is not simply responding to safety. They are responding to presence. When trust becomes routine, eventually trust stops feeling remarkable. It becomes ordinary. The cat sleeps where they always sleep. They greet you the same way each day. They exist around you without hesitation. This is perhaps the clearest sign of trust, when it no longer feels fragile. At this point, trust is not something you think about. It is something you live inside. The cat has woven you into their understanding of the world. You are no longer new. You are familiar. And familiarity, for a cat, is everything. Trust is a story, not a moment. The moment a cat starts to trust you is rarely a single moment at all. It is a story told in fragments. In staying, in softening, in resting, in choosing closeness without fear. Trust is not earned through force or expectation. It grows in the spaces where nothing is demanded. If you have noticed these quiet shifts with a cat in your life, you have already been invited into something rare. A relationship built not on control, but on mutual understanding. And if you are still waiting for that moment, it may already be happening quietly, in ways you haven't yet learned to see. If you enjoy exploring the subtle emotional language of cats, the moments that often pass unnoticed but shape deep bonds, you're welcome to stay here. Subscribing helps this space continue sharing calm, thoughtful stories about the inner lives of cats. And if you've experienced the moment when a cat's trust changed something between you, you're not alone. Sometimes the most meaningful connections arrive without asking for attention and stay